Hi students, how are you? Our next topic is air pollution. An increase in the content of harmful substances in air is called air pollution. So how harmful substances are entering into the air? We know that the quality of air has gone down since our childhood. We know that the fossil fuels like coal and petroleum contain small amounts of nitrogen and sulfur. And when these fuels, coal and petroleum, are burnt, nitrogen and sulfur are also burnt. And this produces different oxides of nitrogen and sulfur. And the inhalation of these oxides is dangerous. And they also dissolve in rain, so that oxides are present in the air. So when rainwater falls down, these oxides dissolve in rain and give rise to acid rain, and this acid rain is also harmful for plants and animals. The burning of fossil fuels also increases the amount of suspended particle in air. So when they are burnt, these particles are suspended in the air, and these suspended particles could be unburned carbon particles or substances called hydrocarbons. So they are unburned carbon particles that will remain in the air. And presence of high levels of all these pollutants cause visibility to be lowered, especially in cold weather when water also condenses out of air. So these hydrocarbons or particles are suspended in the air, and when the weather is cold, what happens? In the air there is water vapor, and when the weather is cold, these suspended particles will be very cool, and the water vapor in the air, that will when it come in contact with these cold particles, the water vapor changes into water. That means condensation takes place. So water vapor condenses on these small particles that is present in the air. So it become bigger in size. And what about the air? Air is not clear air, and it affects our visibility also. Okay, so presence of high levels of all these pollutants in the air cause visibility to be lower, especially in cold weather when water also condenses out of air. And this is known as smoke. So this condition is known as smoke. Okay, and it is an indication of air pollution. So if smoke is formed, that what is the meaning? That means air is polluted there. So many particles are present in the air. And you might have heard about the cases of fog in Delhi and all. That what is the meaning? The air is polluted there. And if we are regularly breathing polluted air, that means air that contains all these substances. If we are breathing this polluted air, it causes diseases like some allergies, cancer, and heart diseases also. Our next topic is water. Water. Okay. So water occupies a very large area of the earth's surface, and we can see water in the underground. Some amount of water exists in the form of water vapor in the atmosphere also. And most of the water on earth's surface is found in seas and oceans as salt water or saline water. But the underground water and the water in rivers, lakes and ponds are fresh water. And fresh water is found as frozen in the ice caps at the poles also. Okay. And we know about the importance of water, so no need to discuss about it. We know all living things need water. And in activity 14.9, we saw that the number and variety of plants and animals in an area are related to the availability of water. We can find a greater variety and abundance of life in a region that receives more rainfall. So where there is more water, we can see more life in that area also. So the availability of water decides not only the number of individuals of each species that are able to survive in a particular area, but it also decides the diversity of life there. So So we can see more number of organisms in the regions where there is more water, and also we can see more diversity in that region also. Okay. And the availability of water is not the only factor that decides the sustainability of life in a region. Other factors like the temperature and nature of soil. So other factors are temperature and nature of soil also determines the life on a region. But water is one of the major resources which determines life on earth. Now we can look at the causes of water pollution. So first thing is due to the addition of undesirable substances like fertilizers and pesticides which are used in farming. So fertilizers and pesticides we know that contain some harmful chemicals that are added to the water. Okay, so from farms it will flow along with rainwater and come and mix with the water sources. Or due to the addition of poisonous substances like mercury salts which are used by paper industries. So from industries and all, wastewater will be flowing to the water sources that also cause water pollution. Or the addition of disease causing organisms like bacteria and all which causes cholera and all. Okay. Then another reason is if the removal of desirable substances from water bodies also causes problems. So dissolved oxygen is used by all plants and animals that live in water. If there is any change in the amount of oxygen dissolved in water, or if it is affecting the oxygen dissolved in water, what happens? That will affect the life of plants and animals in the water also. Okay. Another problem is due to the changes in temperature. So if the temperature in water, if there is any change, if the temperature increases or if the temperature decreases, that will affect the life of living things in water. So aquatic organisms are used to a certain range of temperature in the water body where they live. And a sudden marked change in this temperature would be dangerous for them or affect their breeding. And the eggs and larvae of various animals are particularly susceptible to this temperature changes. Now we can look how the temperature changes. So how the temperature increases. We know some industries use water for cooling in various operations and all. And afterwards they will return this water, hot water, to water bodies. And when this hot water mixes with the water bodies, it will increase the temperature of water and that will affect the life of organisms in water. Now we can look how the water temperature decreases. Another manner in which temperature of water in rivers can be affected is when water is released from dams. The water inside the deep reservoirs would be colder than the water that is at the surface, which gets heated by the sun. So the river and all, the surface water will be heated by the sun. So, but in dam and all deep reservoirs, the water is very cold. So when the cold water from the dam is released into the river or other water sources, what happens? Or that cold water, when it mixes with the water, it will decrease the temperature of the water sources, and that also will affect the life of living things. Our next topic is soil. So we were discussing about air, then water. Now we can discuss about soil. Soil is an important resource that decides the diversity of life in an area. But what is soil and how is it formed? The outermost layer of our earth is called the crust, and the minerals found in this layer supply a variety of nutrients to life forms. But these minerals will not be available to the organisms if the minerals are bound up in huge rocks. So the minerals are present in huge rocks. So if it is present in the huge rocks, organisms won't get it. So it should break down into powder. Then only the organisms get the nutrients. So over long periods of time, the rocks are broken down by various physical, chemical and some biological process. And the end product of this breaking down is the fine particles of soil. So due to some physical, chemical and biological process, we can see the rocks are broken down into fine particles called soil, and from soil the living organisms get the various nutrients or various minerals. Now we can look which are the factors that make soil. First factor is sun. So during daytime, we know it is very hot. So the sun heats up rocks during daytime, and when the rocks are heated up, rocks will expand. And at night, what happens? It is cool, and when it is cool, the rocks will contract. Okay, so expansion and contraction takes place. So since all parts of rocks do not contract and expand at the same rate, what happens? This results in the formation of some cracks in the rocks, and due to the cracks, rocks will break, and when the rocks breaks, powder of rocks will fall down and soil is formed. Okay, then next factor is water. Sometimes this water, when there is cracks, water will enter into the cracks and water freeze inside these cracks. And when water freeze inside it, the cracks will expand, and due to that, what happens? Rocks may break into pieces and soil is formed. And another way is that when water is flowing fast flowing water carries big and small particles of rocks downstream. And when the rocks are flowing down, they will rub against each other and powder of rocks are formed. And this powder of rocks or soil is carried by water, and water deposits the soil in its path. Okay. Then another factor is wind. Wind also like water. Due to wind also rocks rub against each other and breaks down, and wind also carries sand from one place to the other like water. Okay. Then another factor is living organisms. So you know about lichens. Lichens means what? A symbiotic association of algae and fungi. So the lichens grows on the surface of rocks and all. And when they are growing, they release certain substances that cause the rock surface to powder, and that form a thin layer of soil. And moss also grow on the surface of rocks. They also make crack in the rocks. And you can see sometimes big trees, when they are growing, their roots will go inside the cracks, and that also will widen the cracks and make the rock to break also. Okay, so these are the factors that helps in the formation of soil. Okay, so due to the heat of sun, rocks expand and contract, and this contraction and expansion makes cracks in the rocks. Then fast flowing water, due to that rocks will rub against each other and powder. Sometimes water enter into the cracks and freeze and make the cracks widen and break the rocks. Then wind also, due to wind also rocks will be moving, and when the rocks move, what happens? They will rub against each other and powder. Then living organisms also help in the breaking of rocks. Okay. We know that soil is a mixture of small particles of rock and bits of decayed living organisms, which is called humus, and it also contains various forms of microorganisms. So it contains small particles of rock, then decayed living organisms and microorganisms. And the nutrient content of a soil, the amount of humus present in it, and the depth of the soil are some of the factors that decide which plants will grow on that soil. So the nutrient content of soil, the amount of humus present in it, and the depth of the soil decides which plant to grow in that soil. And the topmost layer of soil that contains humus and living organisms in addition to the soil particles is called topsoil. So the topmost soil is called topsoil. It contains humus. And the quality of topsoil is an important factor that decides biodiversity in that area. Modern farming practices involve the use of large amounts of pesticides and fertilizers. And use of these substances over long periods of time can destroy the soil structure by killing the microorganisms that recycle the nutrients in the soil. So if we are using continuously fertilizers and pesticides, that will kill the microorganisms in the soil and destroy the fertility of the soil also. And these chemicals kills the earthworms also. We know earthworms are called as the friend of farmers, and they help in increasing the fertility of the soil. So these chemicals, pesticides and fertilizers affect the earthworms also. And removal of useful components from the soil and addition of other substances which adversely affect the fertility of the soil and kill the diversity of organisms that live in it is called soil pollution. So what is soil pollution? Removal of useful components from the soil, addition of substances that adversely affect the soil and kill the diversity of organisms is called soil pollution. The fine particles of soil may be carried away by flowing water or wind, and this is soil erosion. The roots of plants have an important role in preventing soil erosion. So the roots of plants will hold the soil firmly and prevent soil erosion. And the large scale deforestation that is happening all over the world not only destroys biodiversity, it also leads to soil erosion. But a vegetative cover on the ground has a role to play in the percolation of water into the deeper layers, and that also will prevent soil erosion. Okay, so we should plant more and more trees to prevent soil erosion and also to increase the percolation of water into the deeper region. Okay, so today we were discussing about the causes of air pollution, water pollution and soil pollution, and we saw the importance of air, water and soil. Okay, clear now? Bye.